Okay, everybody, welcome to another episode of Black Coffee. I'm your host, John Brown. Here we talk about all things related to athletes, kids, parents, to help answer your burning questions that you may have in relationship to how to maximize your child's potential. And don't forget to subscribe for those of you who are new to the channel. And if you are out there and you have a son or a daughter that's very small that needs to gain some weight, remember we have a protein company called Cane Protein you can go to and order the protein, which will absolutely help maximize your strength and get your child stronger. That's Cane, C-A-N-E, caneprotein.com. Okay, so today we got my man Adam Brown here. Adam, where you from, brother?
Hey, Jersey boy, born and raised North Jersey. My wife's from South Jersey.
Okay.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, how you live there now?
Yes, we moved to South Jersey about a year and a half ago, and
Okay.
just to domesticate, get a home, nice school district, and everything was peaches and cream. And then I saw your podcast and realized I was doing something wrong.
That's accurate.
Okay, so wait, what did she say?
I said that's accurate.
Okay, so your daughter, I understand, is 4 years old. Is that correct?
Yes. She just turned 4
You only
in
have the
July.
one?
Only one.
Okay, so tell me what you were doing wrong, and what is your first question you have? Let's see if we can make this happen.
All right. So, my approach just to being a dad, to being a husband, it was always just to be a provider, to make sure she was in the best position she could be in terms of just having the foundational things like a nice school district, a warm home. She's in a private school, but it's just kind of having that there. And I say I kind of was doing it wrong because if I had a son, I'm just going to be honest, I would have really been thinking about sports from the very beginning. But she was my daughter, and I didn't really know if I could connect with her on that level. Mm-hmm. And so after I saw your podcast about a month or so ago, I thought to myself, wow, I could really connect with her on that level. I can get into tennis. All of a sudden I'm at Dick's Sporting Goods. I'm getting agility bands. I'm getting all these things, and I'm preparing, and I'm and because I'm really plunging in, and my wife is kind of horrified, watching me do all this. I just had to take a step back. I got some books, and started doing some research. So my first question, I guess I'm going to skip it to my second question, is just how important, would it be just in terms of being on the same page with your wife, and what would the journey look like if she's not already on the same page as to where you want to go?
Great questions. I've never had that problem. I can tell you, if she's on the same page as you, makes it much easier. If she's not, it could be a little rocky. But you have to stay the course. Because let's get one thing clear. Why is it rocky?
I think that from my wife's perspective, mm-hmm. she wants, like you see with a lot of parents, she wants to sort of give Genesis the choices of learning what she's good at, not giving her too much stress.
Okay, wait. Let's start.
And she's,
Wait, what, give me your wife's first name, please.
Sadea.
Sadea. Yeah. So Sadea, can you hear me?
Yes.
Listen to me. You can't give your daughter choices. In my opinion, that's bad parenting. Why do I say that? If your most kids in the United States, I think it's fair to say, most of them don't want to go to school. And if your child said, "Mom, I don't want to go to school," would you let her? Would that be okay? That's a good choice. You wouldn't be okay with that. Same thing with sports. You can't be okay with that. I'm telling you now, your daughter have 2 legs and 2 arms. There's no reason for her not to be one of the best tennis players on the planet if you push her that way. There's no reason. What you are, because you don't have a child that's done it, you're like what I call first generation sports parents. So this is all new to you guys. So I understand that. So it seems unobtainable, pretty outlandish. Like my little, what's your daughter's name?
Genesis.
Genesis. I'm not gonna remember. I'll try to write it down. So you're gonna think, can Genesis be that girl, this little baby, this little 4-year-old baby I'm looking at in my arms right here? Can she grow up to be that? Absolutely.
That's not the issue. I'm sorry. That's
What's
not
the
my
issue?
Though.
What is it?
So for me, the whole thing started, like you said, we need to be on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
Adam started listening to your podcast. I didn't know who you were, anything about
Mm-hmm.
you. He just
Mm-hmm.
came, one day in the car and said, "Oh, Genesis's life is about to change." And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"What are you talking about?" "Oh, she's about to be, she's going to be a tennis pro." And he just was going on and on and on. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
And it was fine. I used to play tennis. Like, I can see Genesis being a professional tennis player, sure. My issue was with the volume of changes in such a short amount of time. Our daughter went from having one routine to now she has a totally different routine, and there's a lot of different things that we've implemented in a short amount of time. And I'm concerned,
Okay.
For her, I don't want her to be overwhelmed. She's been acting out in school. I don't know if that's connected. I just want to be on the same page. I want to have a schedule. I want to know what's going on. As far as the protein thing, that's another thing that he introduced. She just had her annual doctor visit. She's in the 19 to 20 grams of protein category. He's talking about giving her much more than that. So clearly, that's just going to be filtering through her kidneys, which I don't think that that's a good idea. I think that at some point, she's going to need more protein, and we can try and implement
I would start. I agree with you with that. I would like when my kids were young, I waited till they were like around 7 before they started taking protein, and I would give them only 1 drink a day, but it wasn't more than in the mornings always, and it was maybe 20 grams or something like that, because it wasn't like I was giving them 3 shakes per day. So at 7 years old, I would give them like 1 shake in the morning to go along with their breakfast, because they weren't eating that much. And little kids need more protein than you and I because they're growing, right? But I agree. I would be careful with protein powders giving it too much.
Okay. Can I segue to the next question?
Yes.
No.
Don't go nowhere.
I'm just gonna be out of
Okay.
All
right. Okay. So so in my research, so tennis, I've never played tennis, but I do a lot of, I'm kind of like an intellectual type. I just read a lot, and I started reading a lot about it, and this thing is no joke. It's like it's like drinking water from a fire hose. These parents. So the first person I started researching the best people, kind of following your podcast, kind of what to smart. And I started reading about them, their trainers, and we're talking about at some point 6 hours a day when they're like 10 years old, 4 hours a day, kind of leading up to that, because they can they kind of need to make a decision to start going on these tournaments year round. And a lot of tennis parents, what they do is they either homeschool their kids, so they'll be traveling to different countries, catching these tournaments. This is like at 9, 10, or they'll send them to these crazy expensive academies. Like this one, I don't want to say anything. Okay. And that that's
It
sort
can
of
be
where my
overwhelming.
question was. Yeah.
Okay, let's just dive into that. Did you see the movie King Richard?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. When he started, you can see he was just taking them to the park in Compton, just hitting balls back and
Yeah.
forth.
Right.
Look, all these trainers. Let's talk about football real quick. I had trainers. You need personalized trainers, no question. But in order for your daughter or your son to make it in any sport, it comes down to mom and dad, not the trainer. I don't think you need 6 hours a day. It seems a little much, extreme. I wouldn't pay $100,000 for some guy to do that. King Richard, when I looked at the movie, he was in the park, he bought some balls, and they were hitting balls back and forth across the net. And he would, I'm assuming he learned something about, the game, may it be via internet or spoke to someone, and just reinforce everything you read, or if you pay a trainer X number of dollars, videotape it, remember it, and you just reinforce it like homework from school. You don't have to keep paying them. It comes down to who's doing the volume of work. Now,
Yeah.
I don't understand 5 and 6 hours a day. That seems a little crazy to me. I would almost guarantee that it is not normal. It's a question of how many balls you hit. So you can hit, I don't know, let's just think about basketball real quick because it's easier to make that analogy. In basketball, you can shoot 100 balls an hour, or if you had a machine that shot the balls back to you, you probably can do 200, 300 balls an hour. So it depends on your situation you're in. I don't think you need to pay all that money and go 6 hours. I would not do that. If I had a daughter, I'd go, look, here's what we're doing. I looked at Serena Williams and those girls. She was stronger than most girls, just physically. She's a bigger woman. So I would have my daughter lifting weights, not squatting right now. Right now I would have her doing push-ups, maybe some pull-ups, something like that. You know what I mean? When she's 5, not at 4 years old. But at 5, 6 years old, just start doing calisthenics, body movements, push-up, sit-ups, stuff like that, right? Not bench pressing, squatting, and all that. You don't need to do that right now. And to get her stronger than her peers. At all times in her life, she needs to be stronger than everybody she comes in contact with. Now, in terms of training, I would go online like you did, do the research, and I would try to find a facility near you and see who's the best person and find a training regimen. How many balls did it hit? How's it work? Is there a machine that you can buy, or do you have to hit them? How's it work? Have you found that
Yeah.
out
So
yet?
yeah. Actually, I did, and I took your nugget and from the jug machine to go to on a use because they have these like tennis kind of like tennis jug machines. You put all these balls in it, and
Yes.
they launch balls. And I looked
Yes.
for a used one, and so I found that, and then I I guess to your other point as far as the trainers, and I'll just kind of for me, I've never played tennis before, so I kind of will throw balls around, but as far as I have taken my daughter to like the local tennis club,
Mm-hmm.
and I found that most of those most people move to California, Florida, and Texas because year round they're like outside. So if you had a machine like that,
That was one of
you
my
can just
questions. That
go
was one of my questions.
outside.
Yeah.
But now in New Jersey, it's freezing cold. Now it's going to get cold. There's no, even if I had the machine,
Indoor.
I'd have to rent. You'd have to rent a tennis court for I don't know $100 per hour or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd have to be off promptly in an hour. Whereas if you were in one of those places like in California, you just this is my court for however many hours and do that
Yes.
every day. So that's why they move to places like that.
Makes sense.
And
Makes sense.
so that's sort of a you know um, an
Dilemma.
expense, a little bit of a dilemma. I've been also researching. So we go to the gym now. I get her out on the basketball court. We can kind of like have our own space there and throw the tennis, do that, and then go to the practice for an hour, and with the coach there few times a week. But with tennis, there are different kind of courts. They're like clay courts. They're grass courts. So it's kind of it's difficult to do in certain states.
I've seen that. I was wondering about that, but no matter where you live, you have to get that machine.
Okay.
You have to have it. She can never make it. There's 7 days in a week. What I was always trying to do with my sons, trying to create an 8th day of the week, meaning this. If I can create an 8th day of the week, we will have an extra day of work on top of the competitors. Everyone has 7 days. But if we had 8 days, we would be that much better than everyone. So Thanksgiving, birthdays, Christmas, we're working out because most guys won't. And that's a way for me and my sons to get that 8th day that I'm referring to. When guys are sleeping, we get up not early, but we stay up later to do more work than them, to try to create that 8th day, if that makes sense. It's a question of volume of work. You got to do more work. And I tell you right now, you can hire all the coaches you want. They would never put the work that you would put in because he has other clients. He has other clients he has to deal with. I give her an hour. Come to me for an hour. But an hour is not enough. So is there when I was at Notre Dame, I met a guy who had a tennis facility. And I went there, and there was a lot of kids there around 11 o'clock in the afternoon, school night. I go, don't they go to school? He goes, they go to homeschool. They go to school here, and they work out here because you can't go to college and play in Wimbledon. It's not going to work. You have to be a professional. You got to train all the time. Now, is there something like that near you?
Academy. So
Have
there
you
is
checked?
something like that. Yes, I have. There's a place called Billie Jean King. She was a famous tennis player who actually beat
I
a
know
man,
that
I think,
is. Yeah.
Battle of the Sexes, and she's located in like Queens, New York. She has a huge place like that, like you're talking about. In my particular area, I haven't really looked. I looked all around the country. I looked overseas, like Rafael Nadal has one, IMG. There's all around the country. Mostly in the warm places.
Look for a little something at the YMCA because in the YMCA they may have a net and a basketball court that you can use.
So right? Really, I gotta find a good location. You're saying
you got to find
solid
something.
where I can always go. Yeah, find
because it's like if I had a son that I want to be in the NBA and I didn't have a gym and it's snowing outside, I'm finding a gym. I'm going to find a gym for my son. I guarantee you that. So it's like that. You got to find something for her. Make sure, it's keeping her warm, but you got to do a lot of work. And I can't tell you how many balls she must hit per day, but I could do the research and find out who's the best tennis player in the world. How many balls did that person hit?
I did the research, and I learned mostly they talk about what they're doing now. They don't like disclose what they did, but now it's like 1,000 balls a day, 4 hours a day. For example, Naomi Osaka, she does 4 hours a day.
Okay, well let's stop right there. Stop right there. I would want to try to find out why is it taking 4 hours.
Yeah, and so Naomi breaks down because she had a battle with mental health. That's another thing, but she
Mm-hmm.
breaks down kind of strength training for like an hour or half, something called physical physio. She does
Mm-hmm.
that for like an hour. I don't know what that is yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then she does like these agility drills with the ladder, the footwork, and then she's just
Right.
hitting the ball for like an hour
So
and a
how many
half.
times?
Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
So wait. So you're saying her whole workout,
yeah, that's all
every
the
every
all the hours
everything
broken down. Yeah,
encompassed. Ah,
yeah.
okay. I'm just talking about hitting balls right now. So she
Oh, I
hit
think it's
balls for
like
an
an
hour
hour
and a
and a half.
half.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, obviously not now because your daughter's too young, but when she's of age, uh, you'll see it. I would gradually increase the balls that she hits. If my daughter was when they got to be strong enough to hit the ball over the net, man, I'm increasing that sucker fast, and we putting the work in. Now, would I do it every day? No. I'd probably start off at I don't know 3 days a week, see what happens, right? And maybe it's an hour and a half. Then I would do weightlifting. Well, she's young, push-ups, whatever kind of workout that you want to do. Uh, I think lifting weights is very important because she has to be stronger than the other kids because her serve would be stronger. And
Yeah.
people are not naturally born to be strong. You have to make yourself strong. Some are stronger than others, but if you're trying to be the best in the world, the number one player in the world, you got to be stronger than all the other athletes. You can't screw around with that. I'm talking about when she's of age. I wouldn't let her do squats until she's like, I don't know, 13 or something like that. But she would do leg work, like leg extensions, leg curls, and I would let her do maybe some leg press, something light, just to get her body stronger than her contemporaries. You want to make sure she's physically stronger than everybody. Now,
What?
so that I would do 3 days a week. I would hit balls. I would do workouts when she's 5. I started my sons at 5 years old lifting weights. So I would do 2 days a week. I would do workouts with weights. That's all. But I would make sure she understands why you're doing it. Even at 4 years old, I would say, sit down. We're going to start playing tennis. And here's why we're playing. Between the family and us and I, you don't need to tell your friends, but you're going to be the best tennis player in the world. This is what we're doing. I'm preparing you for this. You have to let her know that. She has to put that in her subconscious, and then she'll understand how to go to work. I saw another question that you had asked, something about motivating
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Self
What,
motivation. That's a big one in the tennis world. So, in all the commonality across all levels, everything I've read from Naomi Osaka down is mental health for tennis players. And
okay,
like
wait,
every book
whoa.
I,
So, whoa.
yeah,
Gotta stop you. Gotta stop you.
yeah.
That mental health stuff is all bullshit. You weak or you not weak?
My wife is like, she doesn't agree.
No, I don't.
No, I'm
And
just telling you.
it kind of runs in our family. We don't know if she's gonna have any issues,
No, she
but
ain't got no mental health. She ain't got no
I am
mental
very
health. Look,
protective of that. So
but listen to me. When they say, "Oh," because they got beat, they're mentally. That means they're not strong. They're not strong. And I know what you mean. Those parents, those kids talking back, don't appreciate all the stuff that the parents did.
Right.
That's because the
Right.
parents allow it. If you allow it when they're young, it's going to continue when they're old. Don't allow it. Some
And
kids,
so
like I said, some kids don't want to go to school in the morning. You're not going to sit there and debate with your child whether or not they can go to school. I don't want to go to school because I have mental health. You're taking your ass to school.
yeah.
It's the same thing. But you got to start this now when she's young. You have to teach her to understand what it is you're trying to do and why you're doing it and keep her strong when she gives signs of not wanting to work out or pouting. Don't accept it. Cut it off right there.
For
Do not accept that.
So for so we'll start, kind of like this program at 5. I think that'll give us enough leeway. I'll keep doing what I'm doing just now, just kind of working with her, but it seems like we're starting at 5 really with the weights and stuff.
Hmm.
But
But let's use the
yeah,
word body weight because
body
it's
weight.
mostly
Okay.
body weight stuff. Yeah,
Mostly
push ups,
mostly body
pull
weight.
ups. Yeah,
Okay. Um and so as far as the self motivation and getting her mentally excited about it and being great at it, and that is a commonality across the board because they'll the
And we don't have that issue.
pardon.
I'm saying we don't have that issue. She likes to go to
she
school. She is very excited about working out. She's very excited
Right
about
now we
math.
don't have that issue. I was just, I guess, a little bit concerned because
your
I didn't know how
research,
much.
your
Yeah.
research showed you that. Again,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
because they allow it. It's a very simple thing. Don't allow it. Look, I guarantee you this. Listen carefully. I would bet it's. Let me think for a second before I give you out this number. I would say 80% of the guys in the NFL play because they're getting paid. They really don't want to do it, probably.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, even my sons were talking about that. A lot of they
Yeah.
don't want to play. They're doing it because they're getting paid. Very few guys, if you cut their heads open, there's a football in it, and all they think about is football, and they just want to eat, die, live. Like my son Amon Ra, he loves football to death. He cut his head open, there's a football inside. This not everyone is like that, and that's okay. So don't expect her. It's irrelevant whether or not. Look at my son Osiris. He never liked football. When he was 7 years old, I said you're gonna play until you're in the 11th grade. 11th grade, you can decide whether you want to continue or not. But see, he got all these scholarships. He was smart. He's like, well, shoot, I'm getting ready to go to Stanford on a full ride because I'm playing this sport. Of course, I'm gonna continue to play. And he would have went to the NFL and took the money, but even though he didn't like football, so it's okay if she doesn't like it. It's not why she's doing it.
And so that leads me to the volume, right? So one thing that's interesting, and my wife kind of just agreed, like that sounded very reasonable. How you taught Osiris 11th grade, and he kind of got the picture. But one thing
Yeah.
I've read in tennis, everything is so fast. It's like now is like let me just so I did some research. You know how you were saying on your podcast there's 24/7, there's rivals. So I did that
Mm-hmm.
research, and they're
Mm-hmm.
projecting kids from like 6th grade, like 2030, where they're gonna go. Like it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of the best people. I guess the what's her name, Coco Gauff, she's number 1 right now.
Mm-hmm.
She was training at like 6, multiple hours a day, like maybe
Mm-hmm.
2 to 3 to 4 hours a day sometimes, if they, the way they described it. If I'm trying to put in 2 to 3 to 4 hours, multiple days a week, I guess, how could I, should I invest in a trainer like that, to put in that, like Coco
You
did, or
need you need a trainer. I had a
yeah.
trainer for my sons, right? The trainer was there because I played high school football for 2 years, so I wasn't really a football player. So I didn't have a lot of knowledge, just like you. But I hired these guys to teach them how to run routes, teach them how to do footwork, how to catch the ball, to teach them the position. So
Yeah.
yes, I would hire someone to teach them those things. But as they're teaching, I'm listening. I'm videotaping because whatever he says and does, I can reinforce that on my own.
Okay.
That
It
makes
it, it
sense?
seemed like it does make sense. It just seemed like, so the concept of 10,000 hours. So
Mm-hmm.
this other book I'm reading, woman's she played in Princeton, decided not to go pro.
Mm-hmm.
She was making the argument because it's so much younger for tennis than other sports. These kids have to put in 10,000 hours by the time they're a certain age if they're going to be
Wait,
number
wait, wait,
one,
wait.
right?
What did this lady do? How far did she go?
So she
Who wrote the book?
she went she wrote the book. She opted like at the last minute not to go pro and just to play Ivy League. But apparently
She's a loser. Don't listen to losers. No, you can't listen to losers.
mental health. It was mental health. She said I
No,
don't want
she's
to
a
do it.
loser.
Our
No,
family
no, no,
had
no, no, no,
sacrificed
no, no, no,
everything.
no, no. No,
Yeah.
she's weak. She's a loser. Period.
Okay.
You got to think like this. You got to be a killer.
To be like, oh, this is too much. So I disagree.
I agree. I'm with you. My wife is terrified.
Yeah. I'm not. I mean, I'm with you on the point of our job is to make sure that she's mentally strong. Adam and I are both very strong-willed, strong people. So like I'm with you on that. But to me there's like a measure. And once to me her mental health gets past a certain measure, then I'm not supportive of that. I'm not
Right.
going to wait until my child is like, trying to commit suicide or something crazy like that to be like, "Oh, we took it too far." But I will, if she's complaining about not wanting to work out, then yeah, that's something different. Like obviously she started it, we encourage her to finish.
Okay, so
Well,
let's draw a line
yeah.
here. Wait.
Yeah.
When it comes to mental health, where there, some kids who really have it and going to commit suicide, you don't want that. I mean,
Yeah.
we all agree that that's a bad thing, and you have to step in and interfere and talk to the kid or get the kid some help. We're not speaking of that. What I'm saying to you is this: if it's a person like that, I agree with you. But I am telling you, most of these people, they're just losers. Not all of them, but most of them. Be very careful with that. That's an excuse people use. If there's a person who needs mental help, you got to give it to them. I'm 200% behind that. But I think that a lot of these guys, they're like, man, they blew it that day, so they go, oh, I got mental health. It's like the woke culture. You got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying.
I appreciate that enlightenment, and that we're all on the same page. This is really helpful because, like I was saying, the volume the woman was writing to get to the 10, even though she ended up quitting and being a loser, she did play like people we see on TV and beat them when she was younger. And I kind of want to get Genesis to that point, and then like you always say, push her to the top of the mountain and let her, like that, get it. Because if she's able to beat a Naomi Osaka, then I did my job pretty much, right? And
Absolutely.
she'd have that.
Yes.
Yeah. So the 10,000 hours, we're looking at, I think, like
that makes sense. The 10,000 hours makes sense.
Yeah.
But here's what. Listen to me carefully. The 10,000 hours most definitely makes sense. But I'm telling you, just look at, I got to use other sports because it's easier. Let's say you're a coach and they go, okay, here we go, Adam. I'm going to give you 45 minutes to teach these kids 5 days a week, like at school, how to play basketball, how to be great basketball players, dribbling, shooting, everything. But you got 45 minutes a day. That's all you got. How you got 40 kids.
Right.
And you have 4 basketball nets or 2. It's not possible mathematically. You can't teach them anything. Right. I'm telling you, a head coach as a football player, he can teach you his scheme. He can teach your son his scheme, his play, his game plan, but he can't make them better. No offense to him, he just doesn't have the time. The only one who has the time is you. That coach, he doesn't have the time. He has other clients. Now, unless he's going to be with you living in your house.
I want to talk about time a little bit with you because as a business entrepreneur, time is money, and it's in my profession. Literally every single hour is we're writing it down. So I'm mentally prepared to say, okay, I can spend 3 hours out here with you, 4 hours for 5 days a week after school. I'm willing to go there. But I want to get some insight from you because you owned your business. You've been through ebbs and flows.
Mm-hmm.
Times get slow, and you wish, and I don't want to not work as much as I can, and then times are slow. And I can kind of see that being an issue down the road.
What do you mean times are
Heck,
slow? Affecting your business?
hold on, my wife. What did you say?
I'm sorry. I also just wanted to get clarification on the 10,000 hours thing. I think what we started out saying was that we would increase the amount of time that she's training as she gets older. That's not a 4-year-old thing, right?
Yeah, no, increase it. Yeah,
it'll be increased.
as
I
she
like
gets
now
older.
would be like maybe a couple hours, a few days a week. But we'll ratchet
If
it
it
up.
was me
I
for
think.
now, it would be like if my daughter is 5 or 4, she hit balls for like 20 minutes or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Just 20
That's
minutes,
Okay.
and you're
That's
laughing. You having fun with her. You know what I mean? You work out for what 20 minutes. That's it. Because she's young, and then as she gets older, you'll know as a father when to add more. I wouldn't do 10,000 like a 2 hours right now. No way. 20 minutes.
Oh, I've been doing that.
That's why we clash, right?
Okay. All right. I'll stop doing
No,
that.
I would
Okay.
do 20 minutes. 20 minutes of hitting balls, and also laughing. Don't get me. It's not serious. You're having fun right there because she's so young.
Yes.
You're just having fun hitting balls, but you still tell her why she's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you tell her, why she's doing it, she believes everything you said. You're her world. You guys are her world. What you say, she believes. So 20 minutes hitting balls 3 days a week, maybe. Just having fun.
You had me ready to run through a brick wall, man. When I listened to you, you had me
No,
ready
you
to
got to
go.
get ready for it. No, you got to get.
It's been causing problems.
Okay. Yeah. That's a little much, but don't lose that because you're gonna need that. And as she gets older, she's 5 years old, she's 7 years old. You can say, okay, let's do a little bit more, and then you're gonna start looking at other kids because now you're in the community, and now you're in the tennis community. You're walking around, you're looking at people, you're going to events, you're talking to parents. You say, oh, okay. And if you see, listen to me carefully. If you see a little girl that you're really impressed with, meet her parents. Ask her parents what they're doing. Do not look at a little girl that's very impressive and let them parents walk out the door without interviewing them. Don't ever do that.
Okay.
You got to find out what everyone's doing.
Okay.
Then that's how you learn.
And I guess that sort of leads me to the question of I guess recognition. Oh, actually, I'll go back to the business. I want to touch on. I have so many questions. The recognition factor. So I understand. So when you were on the grind, you were having your sons go to beat writers, but in the advent of like social media and the ability to market yourself, and even in my own business, I know advertising from social media, you can pretty much pay for it. Would it make, and since because she's so young, would it make sense to sort of create my own buzz, making her on highlight reels, just putting it out there on video now, and kind of short circuiting that?
I wouldn't do that right now. I wouldn't do that right now. I would keep everything personal and just grind. We came out the garage. So let me share a story with you. This will make sense. Okay. So in my garage and outside at the park, that's all we did. Right? We weren't nobody. But my sons knew why we were doing it, because I made sure they understood that every single day. We're doing this to get to the NFL. We're not screwing around here. You understand that? Yes, sir, Papa. Okay. So we went to a track meet because a guy told me, hey, man, you always wonder, you talk about running track with your sons, and we never worked out or sprint or did anything like that, but I figured they're athletic. I want to compare them because we work out a lot with weights. And I'm thinking my son's got to be bigger, stronger, faster than every kid on the planet. How do I know it? I got to test it. How would I know? So we get to the track meet. They won like, 12 first place medals between the three of them. one lady came to me and says, "What track team are you guys with?" Because they had track clubs apparently, and they must have been like 6, 7, and 8 years old, or something like that. I go, "We're not on a team." I go, "Yep." She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I don't know. We just work out in my garage." "You on a garage team?" I go, "Yeah, I guess." So my point is, we just came out the garage and just ran and went back in the garage and kept it quiet. And we just kept training. So you're going to train your daughter in your garage. And right now, until she's like, I don't know, 8 years old, people are going to start recognizing her. And they'll start recognizing you. Seeing you. Who's this guy always with this little girl, got her hitting a lot of balls? You know, who's this guy? Who's this guy? And I never said anything. I just kept working. We played Pop Warner football. We just kept working. But when you get on the circuit, that's when things get a little difficult. Meaning jealousy, parents getting mad at you. Who do you think you are? You know, so you got to be real careful and be prepared to protect your cub, because they're going to be throwing a lot of darts at you because you're trying to be different. You're daring to be great, and people can't handle that, so be ready for that.
Okay. All right. And
But go back
if I
to your
can,
work.
I'll
What
just
were you
kind of
saying? What were you? What work? You didn't finish your work
yeah.
question.
Yeah, because when I was when you answered the last question with kind of like 20 minutes for hitting now, 20 minutes, because I've been sacrificed. Like, I'll tell you, I don't know. I'm pretty sure a lot of people who watch your podcast do this initially. Once they hear you talk, it's like you just go all out. And so I've been going all out with this whole thing. And I'm thinking like, man, I gotta put in some more work in my regular job. This is like a lot of volume to do, reading all these extra books, going
Yes.
the trip to different people, calling, getting all that information is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I don't. You kind of answered my question for now, but I guess now that we're gonna plan it out, and I think we can maybe figure out a way. Now that my wife seems like she's kind of all in now with me, it's hard to do on your own, So I
It's
guess
hard
that was
doing
my
your own.
question. Like,
It's easier with
yeah,
your wife there. Yeah. So I mean, you like I said, you're what I call first generation sports parent. So it's a new thing, and it's nothing wrong with what you were doing because you didn't know. But the good thing is that you were able to do that. And I tell you, you're the first person I talked to. I'm sure there's more out there, but you're the first person I spoke to who's done the research. Because most of them have no clue. They don't do the research. It's weird to me. But you've done that. So congratulations to you and your wife for at least doing the research, trying to figure this thing out. How many balls are Steffi Graf? I know she's old school, but how many balls did she hit? Did Coco hit? I don't know, but there's a number. You
right.
know my theory about the knives, right?
Yeah. Yeah. My wife doesn't know. That's why I'm
So
smiling.
okay, so what I was telling the folks was, you go to the carnival, you see the guy who has the lady standing on the wall, and he throw knives to outline her body with these knives, but he never hits her. It's like amazing, like wow, how did he learn that? Can you imagine how many knives he had to throw? It must have put a silhouette up, I'm assuming, and he threw knives at that silhouette. How many knives did he have to throw in order for him to feel confident and say, okay, sweetheart, I think I'm ready. Stand against the wall. He had to throw a lot of knives. So I'm telling you, you got to, for your daughter to make it, to be number one on the planet, you got to throw a lot of knives.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about, when I talk, I don't talk about number two. I don't know nothing about number two. That's the first loser. I'm talking about number one. I don't care about number two. There's a different mindset, trying to be number one.
Mentally, it's like, it's so hard because everything we built in our life was this sort of traditional route. Go to a good school district, get a nice place to live, and where it seems like you kind of almost like your friend in Notre Dame. These kids almost have to be homeschooled almost, but you're saying you can life hack that around and you wouldn't do the homeschooling.
I really think you can. I really think you can get around that. I really do. Because look, they're just hitting a ball across the net. and they're running, hitting
Right.
them. That's all they're doing. It's not that
Right.
difficult. So it's a question of the volume of work.
Right.
It's the volume. So look at, what's the girl named Coco? You said hits the ball for an hour and a half.
Oh, so that was Naomi. She does like 4
Naomi,
hours a
okay.
day now for like 5,
No,
6
just
days a
hitting
week.
the ball. No.
Or just hitting the ball
We're talking
like an
about
hour and a half.
an hour and a half. That's nothing. That's if I had a daughter and she gonna play tennis, she would hit an hour and a half when she's 10 years old. That would be nothing for her.
And so
hour and a half. Come on.
now thinking about school, right? So she's going to school at 8 o'clock in the morning. She's getting off at 3. She's come home, snack, do whatever she needs to do. These those athletes are working out for like 2 hours and then doing physio for whatever, and then hitting the ball an hour and a half. That's
okay. Sorry, I got to interrupt you because you say things that make me think, and I have to interrupt you. So please excuse me for interrupting you like that, but I have to because right now you can listen carefully.
Yeah,
I know some bodybuilders who work out twice a day. Most of them, twice a day, and you think, "Wow, twice a day! Wow." I worked out once a day. You can work out once a day hard or twice a day easy. So all that stuff they're talking about, all those hours, 6 hours, because they're doing nothing. They're screwing around. That's why they're doing all those hours. If you train hard, if she was my daughter and we came into the gym, she would train 3 days a week, maybe four, but for sure 3. Even when she's 15, she'll be done with her workout in 35, 40 minutes. Because we're going to grind. We're not screwing around, taking time, doing rubber bands, doing kettlebells, none of that stupid stuff. That's not working out. That's why you see all these hours, because they're lollygagging. So please understand it. So at some point, you're gonna have to understand. At some point, you're gonna have to understand what it means and what it looks like to train hard, because you're not gonna know what that is. Keeping tension on the muscle means this. For like you right now, if I put you on a bench press, medium weight, 10 reps, and after you finish, I say, okay, get down, drop, and do push-ups. Give me 30 push-ups. You stand up, I count to 20 seconds and say, get back down on the bench. You do 10 more reps. You probably only can do 9 now. And now it's okay, get down, give me push-ups to failure. And I do that after the second time, you're exhausted. You can't even go, you probably won't be able to do 3 push-ups. That's tension on the muscle. What they're doing is they're doing bench press. They wait for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. They do another set. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, another set. They're there for 2 hours. They're screwing around. So when you see, to me, a suspect all those hours, I almost guarantee you it's easy work. That's why they I don't think you need all those hours.
But definitely, I obviously you're the master in terms of body manipulation and weight. So that's why I'm deferring to you on that. But even with the skill stuff, it's an hour and a half. I think Naomi does 6 days a week.
When you say skill stuff, what does that mean?
I mean, just the like they're hitting the ball different ways, backhand.
Okay,
forehand,
hour and a half. Okay.
all that.
See, so to me, hour and a half, that's good. But
Yeah.
I would like to see the hour and a half. I would like to see, because on that jug machine, they got a volume, and you can turn that volume up, and those balls come out quicker or slower.
Right.
I need to see all that. You see, I need to see the math, because I suspect there's some stuff is suspect there. I got a neighbor here. My neighbor, basketball player, young boy, 12 years old he was, or 10 when I met him. He's shooting around. They just moved in. I got to know him. I go, how many balls do you shoot a day? He says, a lot. How much is a lot? He didn't know. So I talked to his dad. I said, you gotta quantify it. You gotta count. You can't say a lot. So next day I see him again. He says, "Oh, I shot, I think 30 balls, 50 balls, 100 balls." It's okay. I said, "How many balls did Steph Curry shoot?" "I don't know." "Well, don't you think you better find out?" So he came back. Steph Curry shoots 1,000 each time a day. I said, 1,000? Okay. That means you got to do 1,100 if you want to be better than him. So the little boy's father bought him one of those machines that, like a jug machine, kind of basketball that you shoot in the net. It captures the ball, shoots it back at you. Now the little boy is 14, 15 or 14. Now he's shooting 1,100 balls a day. And it takes him less time because he turned the volume up. He sped it up. So I don't know if they're speeding it up or what they're doing unless I saw it. So I'm suspect all these crazy hours. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean, we got to put the 10,000 hours in. Don't get me wrong, like the knives.
Right.
But I don't think it should take that long.
Yeah, I did. So the math is for 10,000 hours in 10 years. That's like 2.7 hours a day if you're doing it every day. Now it doesn't have to be exactly 10. The woman in the book,
Exactly.
But it's close to that.
Yeah.
So we'll this was brought a lot of clarity to us. I think. I think I listen to you all the time, so I just for my wife's benefit, and whoever out there may be listening, I guess, with the food, my wife is wants my daughter to eat like breakfast food for breakfast, and you're always saying like eat food at nighttime the same as the morning time, and then you can eat whatever in between. It sounded like dirty, like you were saying. When should that start?
Look, like I said, kids, your daughter needs more protein per day than you because she's growing. Okay. My concern, the reason I developed my own protein powder for my sons was I went to school when they're young and I saw what they were eating at lunch. I go, oh my God, man, they're going backwards here. So I needed some clean protein to make sure my kids were getting enough protein throughout the day. I would eat, look, I let them eat anything. They could eat Cheerios. They could eat candy. I let them eat anything they want. But I made sure the main source was make sure they got enough protein in their systems. Because protein is the building block for everything. So you must make sure they get enough protein. That's most important. Even the word protein is a Greek word that means most important. So as long as your daughter is getting enough protein in, you should be okay.
Okay.
But here's the thing I want to also tell you. When you training her, you have two hats. I always had two hats. One was dad and one was trainer. I didn't always wear the trainer hat all day. No. They understood. Once we're done, I take that hat off. I put dad hat on. And now we go have fun, go paintballing, go to the water park, whatever they want to do. You got to have fun with your daughter. There's no such thing as all work and no play. You got to have fun with her. Me and my boys laughed our asses off. We had so much fun, so it wasn't just all work. And the same thing goes for academics. Same thing. I told my son, don't bring A's home. Don't show me an A. Any fool can make an A. Show me A+. If it's not A+, I don't want to see it. And my son goes, Pop, you don't understand. There's no extra credit, so I can't get A+. Okay, then don't show me A. So in their minds, they believe that they're supposed to get A's. What you tell your daughter, she will become. That's why you don't give her choice. She's too young to give choice. Okay, with chocolate and vanilla ice cream, she can choose that, but that's it. That's bad parenting if you give her too many options. It's bad parenting. Horrible.
Well, he gave his kid a choice at 11th grade. I agree with that.
But my wife said, 11th grade, Cyrus received a choice. But my biggest thing about this tennis stuff is it's like now, basically. Like, not 4, but, 5, 6, like Coco, these people started like 6 years old, doing like a couple hours a day, But I think we've gained a lot, honestly. I think it's lowered the temperature in the house because we were polar opposites. You should have a disclaimer on your videos, like make sure you're on the same page with your wife before you don't try this at home until, because we were really, I needed to have this conversation with you, and we're really grateful that
Well,
we took the time to
don't worry about going over an hour. Don't worry about that. If you have more questions, just hit me right now. I enjoyed talking to you two, and I'm very impressed with you two. I just want your wife to understand this here. If you go on this path, you got to be really ready, because there's a good chance this thing can happen. And if this happens, you better right now start learning about investing monies, because it's going to take you a while to learn. What if your daughter ends up with $100 million because of what we're talking about? Are you ready right now? Do you feel safe enough to say, I know enough about investments to guide her? So you got to start learning that also. It's a lot to do, because when she's of age, there has to be somebody to champion. Why not her? It's just a volume of work. There's no secret, no magic trick. It's not so difficult. 95% of the people on the planet are lazy. That's to your advantage. If you're not a lazy parent, this is what's going to happen. And take choice away. Don't give her choice. But you got to have fun. You just can't be just all work and no play.
I guess the last thing I'm going to, because I know how extraordinary, the experience was with your children in different countries and stuff. So in tennis, there are like week-long, like you can kind of check into these academies, like for like a week, like the Rafael Nadal Academy. You can go there for a week. And with her age, just so that, me and my wife are on the same page now, I was thinking, let me know if you think it's a good idea, if I maybe do it like once a quarter, maybe do it for a week, and it might involve taking her out of school for that week. But I was, just based on your experience, it sounded like that would make it wouldn't matter if you took them out of school just for that small amount of time, because it might be
doesn't matter. I would take them out.
It doesn't matter.
Take them out. So I took them out just to go to the beach. I used to go to my son's school, blow a whistle. They come outside. You want to be here? It's a nice day. No, let's get out of here. Just to go to the beach, I would do it. So for sure, I would take her out of school. I wouldn't even hesitate to take her out of school.
So I might do that. Like, maybe instead of having to go to these crazy academies, we'll do what you're saying, and then maybe once a quarter, maybe we'll do these. They're expensive, but you can go there for like a week. It'll be like in Belarus.
I'm thinking of something here. So here's what I did with my kids. And again, like I said, don't worry about the hour. If we have to go over an hour, I don't care. So with my kids, here's what I did. I trained them. I trained them. Now I want to see if it's working. So we find an event, 7-on-7. Let's go and see if we can beat up on the rest of these kids. Let's see if we can dominate. Because I never trained to be good, to beat someone. We train to dominate. And if they're not dominating, I will see it and go, okay, I need to do a little more work. So if you take her out, expose her to some tournament or against some other kids, if she's not dominating, then you got to do more work. Okay. Girl of her same age or a year older, she didn't dominate her, we got more work to do. You're training to dominate, not to compete. You don't want to be competitive. That's for the losers. You want to dominate people. Teach her to dominate. And if she didn't dominate, let her know, sweetheart, you didn't dominate. We got to do a little more work. You don't yell at her, but you let her know, hey, don't worry about it. We'll fix it. We're training. And if you dominate, you don't lose. You win. She'll win. 95% of people won't do that. Put her in the 5%. But don't train her 2 hours right now when she's 4 years old, Adam.
Okay. Yeah.
That was my big concern.
I was doing that 3.
Hey, Adam comes on. That's it. We're changing everything. She's going to be the best in the world. 2 hours a day. Let's go.
She's too young.
Your wife's like, wait. He's like, your wife's like, hey man, slow down. What you doing, man? Who's this crazy guy you listening to?
Yes.
That's right.
So I want to say this. I want to say this to parents. You see? So those parents out there that are listening to me, they better call in because they're gonna
Yeah.
misconstrue some things. You may want to call in to clarify things to make sure you understand exactly what I meant. Because sometimes I speak in general. So
Yeah.
if you're
Is that
thinking about, you have questions, you got to call in because I just clarified that with you. But at some point, you're going to need to do that, what you're doing. And how do you know? You take her to a tournament, and you let her play against some other kids. You go, okay, it wasn't good. But my sons are dominating. I'm like, okay, yeah, we're dominating. We dominated those kids. Guess what? I flew my kids to Detroit. They dominated in Detroit. I flew them to Baltimore. They dominated in Baltimore. We went to Germany. We dominated there. I want to see. You just compare them. And they dominate kids. All three of them, like three German shepherds.
Yeah.
So you got to get your daughter on that page, and grades too. Same thing with classroom. She got to dominate in the classroom. How tall are you guys?
Well,
Your wife looks short.
She's
I'm
5 foot
very
tall,
short.
and I'm
Yeah, she looks short.
6'1", and the
So
average
tennis is
professional tennis is 5'9". I believe I looked it up. Sloane Stevens or Coco Gauff is 5'7". So
so she got to be a giant killer.
yeah. You don't think she's gonna make 5'5" maybe?
I think she'll
Five.
be taller than me.
You think so? I don't
She'll
know.
be taller than your
You don't
wife
think
for
so?
sure. But for
She's
tennis,
like
it doesn't matter. In tennis, it doesn't matter. She's gonna have to be
Right.
here. She's gonna have to be stronger.
Right.
Right?
She is very short.
Yeah, and the
She
low center of gravity might actually, I don't know.
No,
help
she's gonna
out
be
with
physically. She's gonna be physically stronger than the other people. Because you're gonna make her work out hard. You're not gonna do those stupid workouts with rubber bands, jumping on the box, kettlebell. The reason people do those workouts is because they're easy. They're not uncomfortable. The workouts I'm telling you to do are very uncomfortable. No one wants to do them. No one wants to do that. They want the easy road. Don't give her the easy road.
Yeah. Tension on the muscle. All right.
So did your wife have any other questions? Because I know she was, you was killing her over there with all this. She's going to do this and that, just 2 hours a day training. Like, wait a minute, what's going on with this guy?
I think we covered everything, and you clarified it for me. So thank you, because I feel much.
But
better.
don't be afraid of when I talk about mental health. Of course, we don't want nobody ready to commit suicide because you got to jump in, then intervene in that moment. But trust me, most people are just weak in these excuses.
Right.
Okay.
His excuses. Like my neighbor, he was 12 years old. I saw him limping. I go, what the hell's wrong with you? He said something. I go, what? You're 12. Man. And every time they go to a tournament in Las Vegas, basketball, he ends up hurt. I said, he's scared. I tell his dad he's scared. Just make him play hurt. There's nothing wrong with that boy. A week later, he's okay. Make that boy play.
Oh,
sometimes kids
last thing.
Make excuses. Yeah.
Stretching. You were saying like don't stretch.
Don't stretch.
Yeah.
Waste of time.
So I train.
Okay.
I have a personal trainer. I train like 4 or 5 days a week, and we don't stretch. But my joints hurt. Like I train so hard
because you're getting old.
I stretch.
Because you're getting old.
Right. And when I stretch, it feels better. So he's telling me not to stretch, and I'm like, I have to do that.
You don't have to do that. You can do it if you want, but I believe in a dynamic warm up. If you're gonna do, I don't know, bench press, you gotta start light. If you're gonna play basketball, you shoot around. You warm up, you shoot around. But if stretching was such a good thing, then people would stretch and start playing and not warm up. People would stretch and just run 100 meters for the best time. They wouldn't do dynamic warm up. They wouldn't sprint. They wouldn't warm up. They would just stretch and go. So why don't they? If it's such a good thing, why don't people stretch and then just start running? No.
Dynamic warm up. Got it.
They did a dynamic warm ups where if you're playing basketball, you dribble around, you shoot around. That's warming up. But you're not gonna stretch, and then go, okay, I'm ready to run 40 meters for my personal best time. No, you're not gonna do that. So why stretch is the question. No, but if you stretch, and you get injured because you stretch your hamstring too much, now you got to be careful because some cases it's a lot of scar tissue. If you got a lot of scar tissue, guess what? You got to start stretching for the rest of your life now because you done screwed it up. Because the scar tissue won't stretch. So that's what I believe. And I did some research, and there's a lot of people other than myself who believes in the same thing. So if you Google it, and just go on YouTube and look at people who disagree with stretching and see what they say.
Okay, I'll do that.
You know?
I have a professional person.
But Adam, come on, man.
Yes, sir.
Give your little daughter a little break there. God damn.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Your poor wife is like, what the hell's wrong with this guy, man? Is he went crazy?
Yeah, that's my personality, and but thank you again.
But congratulations on the research.
It was mostly, you inspired us very much. So, and I'm, as a dad, I could say I'm speaking on behalf of a lot of dads out there. I pretty much gave up the sports dream. I was like most parents saying, sign her up for whatever she's happy with. But thanks to you, I kind of, it's like I'm excited about it now. So you added to my life a lot. You really added to my life. So
man, it's a beautiful thing. And I tell you right now, my wife, she missed a lot of moments. She did a great job. Don't get me wrong. But we would fly to, I don't know, Detroit. And what I saw them do against other kids their age was amazing. And she didn't see that. So as much as you can, your wife wants to be there to enjoy all those moments. Yeah. Because it is amazing. It's amazing. You see, go, wow, she's doing that? Oh my God. She's that good? Yes. Yeah. There's no secret. Jackson 5 or the Jackson 5 because of Joe Jackson. Yeah. They weren't born to be the Jackson 5. He turned them into Jackson 5. Your daughter's not born to be
Joe was a little crazy.
but he did it, right?
Yeah.
He did
it. Yeah.
Right? So you do Serena Williams' father. They thought he was crazy. But he did it. If you do it, your daughter be there, they're going to think you crazy coming up too. I want you to know that. Oh, they're going to think they thought I was crazy. But I'm crazy like a fox. So you stay the course and don't let anybody tell you some craziness. Stay the course. If you have more questions, don't hesitate to call in because it's going to change as you get older.
Yes, sir.
But stay the course. Dominate. You're not training. If she goes into a tournament and she doesn't dominate, don't accept that. Because, sweetheart, you did a good job, but we didn't dominate. We got to go a little hard. Don't worry about it. I got you. Good job, but we're going to do next time we'll be a little better. Just how you want to talk to her. And she'll believe it. All right, so it's a pleasure talking to you two, man. Seriously. I love to see that the fact that your wife is there, man. That's beautiful because it takes two of you. And it's always the father and the wife is not there. I'm like, God, the wife has to be there. It doesn't work without her.
No.
It doesn't work.
She makes the household run smooth, and
yes,
we're on the same page now, thankfully.
Fantastic. Beautiful thing. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Enjoy that cold weather.